And welcome back to my kitchen. Now tonight what I'm going to make is a bit of an old recipe. A lot of the young people today probably don't even know what this is, or if they may not even have it. This is what we called lamb's fry, which is probably just a good name because this is basically the liver from a lamb. But trust me, it doesn't take like liver after I process it in how I'm going to cook it. And I think I'm probably in the last generation, growing up in Australia, that was brought up on this. Lamb's fry was a staple in my family, at least, once a week, maybe once a fortnight. But we all knew what it was, we all loved it. Now younger people either don't know what it is or don't even want to try it, which is sad because it's really good. It's very nutritional, actually, very high in iron. So for girls it's particularly good if they've got iron deficiencies. It is a little bit icky looking, I guess, and a bit smelly at this stage, but it's going to get better as I show you through the process. This is getting very difficult to find now. I couldn't even get it in my local grocery stores. I had to go to a butcher to get it, but it's much better quality actually. It's much fresher than what I would have had at a butcher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it up. Now traditionally you always have lamb's fry and bacon. That's what this is here, bacon. I'll cut that up as well, and I like to do it in the strips. And this is my process of doing it. I do it my own way, not like what other people do, and I'll show you. I sort of layer it. I cook a bit of this, I cook a bit of that, I cook a bit of this, I cook a bit of that, and I build it up in my storage container. And then I'm just going to use off-the-shelf gravy powder, nothing special, Gravox, okay, and I'm going to pour it all in there. Now again, this is not the traditional way. Normally they don't do it like this, but that's how I do it, and this is how I prefer it. It's wonderful with mashed potatoes. So I've already got some potatoes on the stove at the moment. I'll probably have a few other veggies as well, but I've got to get this bit done. So just give my knife a bit of a honing. And now we're simply going to cut this up into strips, basically. It's good if you've got a good sharp knife. You don't want your strips too big. Got this little dag bit here I always cut off as well, separately. Now, when I take it out of the packet that it comes in, I give it a rinse under the tap, because it comes with a lot of blood and stuff, right? And I don't really want that on here, so that's why it looks really dry. That's why, because I first rinsed it and then I give it a bit of a pat down with some paper towel. So that's basically all we're going to do with it. I'm actually going to cut these longer ones in half, only because it's going to speed up the cooking time a little bit. Alright. So I would highly recommend this. It may look awful at the moment, but it's really, trust me, it tastes really good. Otherwise I wouldn't eat it. I'll tell you now, tripe was another thing when I was growing up. Tripe is the stomach lining of a cow. I personally feel that's probably the most disgusting thing I've ever smelt or eaten. It doesn't matter what you do to it, as far as I'm concerned, it's inedible, but people used to eat it. Not me, but I like this stuff. So of course this is what we call offal. Heart, lung, liver, kidney, it's all combined, we call it offal. And once upon a time, because people were poorer, they didn't have much choice. They had to eat every single bit of the cow or the pig or the sheep. Now what I'm doing now is I'm dusting it in flour. I've got this seasoned with just salt and pepper, nothing fancy, just a little bit of salt and pepper. I'm just going to dust it or drench it in the flour, and that's basically what we do to it. Probably see on the board it is still leaching out a little bit of blood. That's nothing, that's normal. If I didn't rinse it, it'd be soaked, which I don't like. And as I said, even though this is the liver, it doesn't taste what you think it will taste like, right? It's got a unique taste. I can't compare it to anything because there's nothing to compare it to. All I can say is it's very palatable. It tastes really good. The only place I've seen this in recent years on a menu is in country pubs. You just don't see it anymore on menus. The country pubs, you know, that's your best chance of finding it somewhere. Yeah, it's a shame because it's a good meal. Right, so that's basically our drenching done. So I like to move fairly quickly at this stage because if you leave this with the flour on for too long, the meat absorbs the flour and all the flesh is exposed again, and I have to re-drench it, and I don't want to do that. So, doing all this in real time. Just keep my border wiped down because I don't want all that blood and stuff on there. And I've given the knife a bit of a clean as well, because now I'm just going to cut my bacon up. Again, I just like to do it in strips, nothing fancy. Some people leave it whole almost, the bacon, but again, this is just my method. This is how I do it. I like to cut it up into bits, just like that. And just one across for good luck. That's it, done. That's it. So now I've just got to get my fry pan on. We're going to fry this up. I'm just doing it in vegetable oil. So when I get all that set up, I'll move the camera around and you can see what I'm doing. Okay, back soon. Okay, so here we are at the hot plate. I've got my main big heavy pan, fry pan. Got it on 6 out of 9, so that's like a moderate hot, you know, temperature, sort of in the middle. You don't want it too hot because otherwise it'll burn on the outside and be still raw in the middle. You definitely don't want this raw in the middle. As you can see, I've got my potatoes on there at the moment, so I should be able to start putting. Okay, it's not really hot enough at the moment, but whatever. This always happens when I'm doing these videos because I'm trying to rush it, because I'm spending too much time doing other stuff for the video. It should sizzle. That's when you want it on there. It should sizzle. And it's not. It's not hot enough. So I'll pump the heat up. I shouldn't do this, but I will. And as you can see, I'm doing it in batches. We don't want to bung the whole lot in there because it'll overcrowd the pan, and nothing cooks evenly when you overcrowd a pan. Okay, so it's starting to warm up now. Let's put it back down. So basically now what I'm just going to do is fry all this off. So we might as well speed it up. Okay, so this is about done. It's got a bit of a crust on the outside. Now, how do I tell if it's ready? From experience. So when I used to do this when I was younger, I would get a thickest piece in here, I'd take it out and I'd cut it in half. What you don't want to see is bleeding or anything like that, you know. So as long as there's no bleeding, it's relatively done. But because we've got that flour on the outside, it's going to give it that crust. And that's what we want. So this is basically done. It smells fantastic, by the way. So what I'm going to do now is just put this into my holding container. Like that, put the lid on. What I forgot to mention before, I also do this with an onion. So I cut up an onion, like just into rings, okay? And we're going to put our bacon in with the onion. So once again, we let this fry. Speed up. Okay, so this is just about done. As you can see, I've just got the bacon a little bit crispy, not that much, but, and the onions softened up. That's all you need to do. So now I'm just going to put this on top of the stuff that we already put in there. So what I'm going to do now is just keep layering it, like I said before. So now I'm going to put some more lamb's fry in here. Then I'll do more bacon and onion, and then more lamb's fry, and then that should be it. There's nothing tricky about it, it's just probably a bit time consuming, but I don't mind. And while this was going on, I cut up some other veggies and put them in the water. I also had to re-drench my lamb's fry because it had dried out, as I said, only because I was mucking around setting up the camera and all that stuff. Normally, so see, that's all I've done. I've just dumped it on top of each other. Put the lid back on. Put the lamb's fry on. And you don't have to sit there and watch this cook. I'll do this off camera and we'll come back at the next stage. Just for now, my hands are all dirty, so you have to bear with me until I clean my hands and turn the camera off. And here we are back again. So basically what I've done, I've finished frying everything up. I've emptied the oil out of my pan, most of it, and I've cooled it right down to 3. I left this off the hot plate to let the pan cool down and let the hot plate cool down, because we're going to do the gravy. Because if you put it in when it's too hot, it'll just go into big lumps, okay? So that's why you got to let it cool down and slowly bring it back up. So I'm just using Gravox out of the box and just follow the directions, but for me I want 2 cups, which works out to be 3 tablespoons of the powder to 2 cups of water. But you can work it out for yourself on the directions on the box. when you put your powder in, just put a little bit of the water in, just enough to create a paste. If you put all the water in, it won't work. So you create a paste, mix it, and then slowly put the rest of the water in. And then into our pan. And the reason why I'm using a plastic whisk is because I don't want to scratch the crap out of my lovely fry pan. So as I said, this cooled right down, so it's going to take a while to warm back up again. While it's doing that, I'm just going to stir it, get it ready. So let's put it up a bit. We'll let that boil and we'll come back when it's ready. Okay, so I've just about got my gravy where I want it. It's just below the beginning of the boil. It's thickening up nicely. I've sort of been stirring it constantly like this, you know, just so make sure I get, just so it doesn't burn on the bottom or get any lumps or anything like that. So, you know, you're sort of bringing it up just onto the boil. You don't want it bubbling by any means. And that's about where it's at now. Yep. Okay, it's all good. So this is a bit awkward because I want to show you what I'm doing, but this might get in the way. Normally I do it over there. This is our lamb's frying bacon and onion. Right, you can see I've laid it all on top of each other. Looks and smells delicious. So now what I'm going to do is tip this directly into there, like that, and just drown everything in this lovely gravy. And as I said, this is 2 cups of this gravy, which is just right. Because I was doing it left-handed, I spilled it everywhere. That's okay. Let's clean it up. Now we'll just put the lid back on. Because that gravy was pretty hot, that's going to stay hot for quite some time. So now I'm going to use this time to mash my potatoes and do the rest of my veggies. Okay, and I'll come back after that and we'll plate up. I'll plate off. Okay, so here we are plated up. Probably can't see. I've just done mashed potato, some veggies. You have whatever veggies you want. This is what it looks like. But I'm going to show you when we cut into it. Still firm. See, that's the colour we want. It's nice and not undercooked, not overcooked. If you overcook it, it's going to be really hard and dry and crumbly. Awful. If you undercook it, there'll still be blood in there, it'll be disgusting, right? So, as I said, if you're unsure, take a piece out, cut it in half and have a look at it. You can always put that piece back in, but if it's overdone, you can't take it out, okay? So that's basically it. Mightn't look great, but I can tell you now it tastes wonderful. So that's it for now. Bon appetit, and I'll see you in the next time I make something in my kitchen. Bye.